Hey, it's your girl Candy J, your favorite certified clinical sexologist, premarital and marital counselor, mocha marriage facilitator, 7 principles of making marriage work, Gottman leader, wedding officiant, yes, guys, it's me. Let's talk real quick, okay? So listen, I told you guys I was gonna come back this week and talk about infidelity, right? And we're just talking about different aspects of infidelity. Now, today I kind of want to talk about affairs. Okay, listen, real close. First of all, let's go back to our definition of infidelity. Infidelity is emotional, sexual, or romantic behavior one partner keeps hidden from another. Okay, that's the definition. So if you are hiding any of those behaviors that you would feel guilty, ashamed, embarrassed about, or your partner would feel guilty, ashamed, or embarrassed about, then it's definitely committing some type of infidelity or cheating, right? So and let's think about this. Infidelity does not always involve sex. Okay. Let's think about the different types of affairs, and we'll talk about like cyber affairs, casual affairs, romantic affairs, consensual affairs. There is such a thing. So let's jump in, right? So the romantic affair. Now let me tell you something about the romantic affair. That is usually premeditated. It's with the intent to cheat. It is usually a full-fledged relationship, y'all. It is love, it is sex, it's adoration, it's the intimacy and the connection, it's emotional connections. Okay. And so it might be hard for the person that is the cheater, right, to tell the difference between their main person and their side person, and because they're living a double life, right? Think about this. A lot of times a romantic affair can result in extramarital or extra outside the relationship children. Okay. Financial obligations. I've seen it to where a couple came in and they had a side baby. They had another house in the other person's name so that they could live with that side baby. They had credit cards and stuff with the other person in that other person's name because they honestly did not want to leave either one of these people. It started out as, them being friends, which we'll talk about in a second. But then it led to a whole romantic affair or a whole nother relationship with that other person where they're invested and they have things in it. You see it all the time where you'll hear crazy stories of, he got a house and a wife over here and a whole girlfriend in a house over here. It happens this in real life. Okay. The average unfaithful partner doesn't use protection. Okay. So that's how side babies happen. That's how STIs and STDs, all of those things happen because they got emotionally invested, romantically connected to this person. And 60% of affairs begin in the workplace. Did y'all know that? 60% of affairs begin in the workplace. Why is that important? Because whether you are online, you're remote, whether you're actually physically going into somewhere, whether you're working with them at the church, whether you're working with them with another business, whatever the case may be, 60% of affairs begin in the workplace. Okay. And there are many reasons why people get into affairs, right? And I'm talking about the different types of affairs, right? So it could be the reason why people cheat is vast, very, very, very vast, right? But let's kind of narrow it down to a few things, right? You're missing something at home. Number one reason, missing something at home, especially with women, missing something at home. Sex, that's usually the biggest one for men. Okay. I've seen a great deal, and the statistics do show about women, not being sexually satisfied at home too, that being a big deal, right? They just want something new. That's another reason. Exposure to partners. So that workplace, the church, all these different places that, you can go, delivery routes, working with different companies, you having exposure to different partners. So therefore you get a chance to think about, wanting to be with someone else. And I think I've already said missing something at home. So these are reasons why people get into these romantic affairs and then build families sometimes from this romantic affair. So then we got the casual affair, right? So we talked about the romantic affair. We got the casual affair. Those are usually like your one night stands. It can also be a workplace fling, but it's really fleeting. It's just, oh, I thought he or she was fine, and they kept, sending me those signals, and lo and behold, we did it in the copy room. I digress, right? Online meetup situation. You meet somebody on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or whatever it's called, X now, TikTok, whatever the case may be. And, you was feeling them for 5.2 seconds because they kept liking your post or commenting on your post, and lo and behold, boom, it was just one little thing. And then one thing led to another, and you met them, right? It's nothing deep about it. It's usually, these people kind of fail to avoid high risk situations, right? When we're doing these casual affairs. But the difference between a romantic and a casual affair is usually the intent. Remember, I told you romantic is with the intent to cheat, right? The intent. Emotional affair. Now, let me tell you this. 70% of emotional affairs start as platonic friends. Okay. All right. So with that being said, 70%. The communication is strong. You're affectionate. You're flirty. It's fun. It's exciting. You can really have a deep connection with that person. You even talk about your other person with that person, and tell all of your deepest, darkest secrets, right? It's that sense of true intimacy and closeness. You could even see yourself. It would make sense for you to be in a relationship, a monogamous relationship with that person that you have the emotional connection with. But they usually start off with good intentions, right? And then the boundaries start to fade a little bit. And then you find yourself, touching them too much, or, being playful with certain body parts. And then, little things are just made kind of innocent, right? And then something else happens, right? And sometimes, let's be real, emotional affairs can sometimes turn physical. They don't always, but they can turn physical. And the next thing that it's now a physical romantic affair. Okay. Then we had those cyber affairs, and we briefly kind of talked about this already, but it's online. But you got to think about it. Is this cheating? Would your partner feel like it is cheating if they would be ashamed, embarrassed, or guilty, right, of the conversations that you were having online with this one person? There's usually some type of low relationship satisfaction that person is going to seek it, but they don't really want to make it into a physical thing. They just want to seek out that thing that they're missing at home. It could be just somebody to talk to about multiple things, right? And but I will tell you that 66%, I'm sorry, of people that have online affairs, they eventually pursue the in-person part. So just be careful with that, of course, right? Be careful with all of these situations, but just, you got to know yourself how susceptible you are to the temptation of being with someone else. Now then, consensual affairs, right? When we do consensual affairs, it's usually with people that have open relationships, right? And you've consented to having this other person entering into your lifestyle and into your orbit, right? But then somebody doesn't follow the rules, right? And usually it's the unfaithful partner doesn't follow the rules, right? So you agree to only have interaction with this other person while I'm in the room. Well, then you guys decide to duck off in another place, or meet up while I'm at work. That's not following the rules. So that's kind of like a consensual affair, right? It started off with something that you were consenting to, and now you're not following what you said, right? So we're just talking about different types of affairs, okay? So what I want you to take away from this, right? I want you to keep in mind a few things. We're talking about how we can overcome these things once we figured out what type of affair. There's all kinds of different features to these different types of affairs. So once you have narrowed those things down, right, and which type of affair happened, what you were hurt by, right, keep some things in mind. The mature mind is one that can work through this, right? Not everybody can work through this. Sometimes people are just like, you know what, it hurt too much. I can't do this. And it's okay, right? To walk away from the situation. But if you are working through infidelity or cheating, right, you have to have a mature mind to walk through this. And sometimes you need to seek help, whether that be someone like me, right, a counselor, therapist, whatever you need, right? Or it might be going to your church, or going to a trusted other couple and working these through things. But you've got to have a mature mind. And speaking of that, you got to figure out who needs to know that you're working through this. Because let's just be clear. Some men do it, but I know for a fact women, we do this. We talk to a bestie. We talk to someone that we trust, right? And we've told all of these details about what happened and trying to get out the hurt, the anger, the pain. We're good at talking through things a lot, right? And so we've got to figure out who needs to know. Well, definitely that person that you told all these things to needs to know that you're working out. And you want to surround yourself with people who can reserve their judgment, right? And love you through it, right? And they're not going to sit around and just be like, well, I told you not to do this, and he's a dog, or she's a hoe, or all those different things, right? You want to surround yourself with people who can be positive about the situation and supportive of you guys working through, because you all as a unit decided that that's what you were going to do. Remember that betrayal counts, no matter how small or how large. Betrayal counts, and you have to give your other partner that space, that time, and opportunity to work through those feelings. And this is not a short process. Research shows that it can take a year to 18 months to 2 years for someone to, or a couple, to work through all of those emotions once infidelity happens. So keep that in mind, guys. And you got to be patient. Not as the cheater, you got to be patient. As the person that was cheated on, you have to be patient. And keep in mind, you can allow yourself to feel. It's how you react to those feelings and what you do with those feelings, right? Emotional damage can be big or small, guys. And so just keep that in mind, that you have to heal and be delivered from all of these feelings, right? And repair the brokenness. And if you are deciding to stay together, then you're going to work to get those things back to a mended heart and not a broken one, okay? And how much time are you willing to work on and dedicate to this relationship at this point, right? So it's not your norm anymore, but where you might have been giving 2 or 3 hours to your relationship a week to work on it. Now you've got to work 10 times harder, because you are working to repair, and you can't repair something if you don't work on it. Okay. Sometimes, remember how you can get into an accident and sometimes they tell you it's going to take 3 days to work on that car because it's just a fender bender. But for that big giant damage where the car got smushed in, right? It may be a total loss. It may not be. And just before it gets to that total loss threshold, it may take 30 to 45 days. It may take an elongated time for you to get that car back, because they've got to do extensive repair work, and they've got to remold and reshape some things, and they got to put new parts into it. And that's what, when you decide that you're going to work on your relationship or marriage once you've had infidelity, then that's what you're doing. You're putting this car back together again. And you have to determine, at what point is it a total loss, or is it still worth fighting for? And so sometimes you're going to need someone like me. My name is Candy J. I am a certified clinical sexologist. I am a relationship coach. I am a premarital and marital counselor. 7 principles of marriage, making marriage work, Gottman leader. And I specialize in couples and putting them back together, working things out, amicable breakups, right? All of those things. So make sure that you come back, ring that bell, subscribe, so that you can come back and get mental health tips. You can come back and get couples tips, sex education tips, all of those things. Okay. I will see you guys soon. Have a great day and happy Super Bowl Sunday. Bye, guys.